Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
It looks something like this.
So tip number 4 is just carrying out some simple aircraft preparation and inspection before you fly your drone. We want to keep our drones in good tip-top condition. Ultimately, they aren't cheap pieces of kit, so why risk flying it without checking its condition first? Carrying out these checks, make sure that your drone is going to fly exactly as it should, and you're going to get it back safely at the end of your flight. So to help you out, we've got 2 procedures for you to follow. Now the first is a pre-flight checklist. So arguably this is the most important of the 2 because this involves physically checking the drone before we actually go and fly it. It's making sure it's in good condition, we're going to get it back safely at the end. So when checking our drones, we want to make sure that everything is tight and secure. We want to make sure that our motor mounts are all secure, there's no play, there's no wobble in them on all 4. We're going to go around, make sure there's no screws that we can see are visibly loose, nothing's rattling, make sure that there's no loose wires in the drone. Everything's secure, it's all connected. We can't see anything that's going to cause us an issue whilst we're flying. Once we've got our battery in, we're going to make sure that that clips in tightly, it's secure. It's not just going to pull out easily. If there's a bit of resistance there, it's going to hold it securely for flight. When we put the gimbal on, we haven't got it on at the moment, but when that's on, make sure it's secure, it's tight, there's no loose connections. So before we fly, we're going to power it up, make sure we're going to get a GPS lock with no issues. Having that GPS lock is going to set a return to home point, so if there was an issue in the sky, it's going to come and land safely back on home ground. Equally, once you power it up on your controller, if there's any problems with the gimbal or the compass within the drone, it might alert you to need to recalibrate. So if you are recalibrating, set it on a level piece of ground, don't move it, do the calibration process. The calibration process will be different for different drones, so make sure you understand how to carry that out on your specific system. Equally, we want to make sure that our controller is fully charged. We want to make sure that our memory card is formatted and we've got enough space on there to do what we're trying to do during our flight. Basically, we're just looking at the aircraft, making sure that everything is good, it's all in good condition, there's nothing that we can physically see that is going to cause us any issues. Now, if you do find an error whilst you're checking your drone, then don't risk flying with it. Make sure you go away, you fix the problem, go and get it repaired, whatever it may be, but just don't fly with it. It might be a pain, but ultimately, it could save your drone. So once we've carried out this check, we're ready for takeoff, and then after a successful flight, we're ready for part 2. Part 2 is a post-flight checklist. Once we've carried out our flight, we've landed safely, we're going to power down and carry out one final check. What we're looking for is for any loose connections or screws, anything in the motors that might have rattled free, come a bit loose whilst we're flying. Equally, we want to check our propellers. Make sure that there's no damage, there's no chips or cracks, we haven't hit any big bugs whilst we're flying that might cause a small little imperfection that might then result in a bigger imperfection. Again, it's just a very quick visual check across your drone, making sure everything is good and it's safe to fly for the next time. If you were to fly your drone, you land it, you might then take off again straight away. If you haven't checked if anything has come loose, you might have a problem with your propeller, it might have rattled free, it might be slightly loose, a motor mount might be loose. If you haven't checked that and you go and fly straight away, that problem might then become a bigger problem whilst you're in the air, and who knows what could happen. So carrying out a quick check before you fly again is just going to highlight any potential issues that might have arisen previously. So once you've done this a couple of times, it will become second nature and it won't take a couple of minutes. You know, we're not saying check this for half an hour before you fly and then check it for half an hour after you fly. It's just a very quick visual check, making sure everything is good to go. You can use these checklists as a guide and as prompts. They're going to just take you through a step-by-step process, making sure your drone is in good condition before you fly it. Some of these checks won't be relevant to your specific drone or system. You know, this is a more technical system than the Mavic, so you wouldn't carry out some of them that you would on this, on that. Just the main takeaway is to carry out some sort of pre and post check before you fly. Make sure your drone is in good condition and you're going to get it back safely.